guys, this is Dormouse03.
And I'm Iron Praetorian.
And welcome to another Ramblings of Mad People. So it's been a long time since we recorded one of these.
Yeah, it has been some time.
I feel like there's always something that comes up in between them that makes it take longer than we want it to.
Yeah, I think it's like the first ones we had fairly close together, and then these are just like sporadic.
Ages apart. Well, I think it took me so long to get the last one up because we were doing Dark Souls. It was misbehaving, yeah. We were doing Dark Souls while, right after we had recorded it, and so we were trying to play that and edit that and get that up. And then when I was trying to get this done, the file just became huge, and then it wouldn't upload, and then it took like 3 days for it to upload to YouTube, and then the processing failed on it, so I had to go back and re-render the video again and upload it. It was just madness. But that one finally went live last week, and now we are gonna try to do another one. So we've done quite a bit since then, as you can imagine, because that was 3 months ago.
Playing them games.
Mm-hmm.
Or in my case, not playing dem games because of unforeseen events that we'll get to. Yeah,
we've had a rough go of it. I was sick for about a month with a cough, and it's still not quite gone.
No, you're not.
I think
you're not 100%.
Not 100% capacity. I still have a little bit of a cough now and then.
Yeah, she's about 87.2.
Yeah. We're still standing at the node trying to wait for it to fully upload to 100%. So
basically my Xbox One died whilst attempting to play the new Witcher DLC, so I had to send it to be repaired. I say in inverted commas because it was actually send it to be replaced. And that took a week. But it took about 3 days to even get the order set up and get UPS to turn up and pick it up. So I was effectively forced to play my 360 to actually do some games. And the games I have to play on the 360 really aren't ones that have grabbed me. And when you are basically forced into playing something that you're not 100% into, it does kind of destroy your motivation.
Yeah. So, yeah, you'd been sort of running out of games for a little bit, whereas I have the opposite problem.
And I don't have the funds to be able to buy any that I want to get at the moment. So I'd like to play like Doom and Quantum Break, but they are still fairly expensive as they have not been out particularly long.
Yeah, and so, yeah, we just had some issues, but we're back. And we've played some games that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So I think the last thing that I was doing back when we recorded this last time was the Assassin's Creed Syndicate DLC, the Jack the Ripper DLC.
Yeah.
And if I can think back to that far,
I'm sure you can.
I enjoyed it. I really did. I thought it was a really good piece of DLC content, completely separate from the main game, so that was good. And forward in time from...
Yeah, I thought the forward in time thing was a good touch, because it was nice to see how things had moved on.
You kind of got to see how Evie and Jacob were getting on a little bit after the events of the main game. And that was cool. It was also nice that you played the campaign as Evie to sort of even out the content for both of the characters, because there was more Jacob.
Jacob-centric.
Yeah, I would say it was probably 2/3 to 1/3 split of the main game, Jacob to Evie.
Do you think they did it on purpose? Like, they knew they were going to bring the Jack the Ripper out with mostly her as the protagonist, and they were like, well, if we put Jacob in the main game having a bit more, when we bring the DLC out, it'll be balanced, because that's effectively their full game? Or do you think they realised that some people had said, we want more Evie content, give us more Evie, so we got more Evie.
So they decided to make her the one in the DLC. I don't know, it could go either way, that decision. My guess is that they probably split it for the main campaign first, and they were like, because I think that they just wanted Jacob to have more of the assassination missions or something for whatever reason. I don't know why exactly they did it that way.
I think it was because they directed it towards like him and the gangs being the integral part of the story. And for me, those kind of things are they should never be the main, because it should be whatever they're searching for to do with those who came before and advancing the plot in the overworld in our time.
Right, rather than it focusing so much on the gang takeovers. Because, and Evie could have participated in that a little bit more. I don't know.
They could have made it so that there was some form of gang takeovers that she was more suited to, where it was more, like espionage, rather than all guns blazing, go punch people in the face. Kind of Jacob. Not saying that Jacob's a blunt instrument, because he's intelligent.
Right.
He just uses different methods to Evie to attain their goals.
Right. They had different goals, and so that made them interesting characters, and it was a good dynamic for the main game. I wish it had evened it out a little bit more. But that being said, it was nice to see the campaign of the DLC go to her, which is cool.
Yeah.
I liked the mechanics of it.
I was going to say the mechanics were fun.
The things that they added to like make people afraid, I guess, was really cool. And the little bits that you got to play, I guess this is a minor spoiler for the, I guess, beginning of the DLC, where you got to play as Jack the Ripper was cool.
It was, because you get to see it from like both time scales. So him committing the crime or whatever he was doing, and then you'd play as Evie first, so you'd be like, so what happened? And then when you find out what happened, it's like, this is actually what happened, and in this order, and so on. Yeah.
So it was cool the way that all that worked, and the new things that they added in was just, I don't know, it just felt really visceral, and I liked it.
I think that's a good mechanic.
The pinning the people in the ground, or the, little pins that Evie had.
Yeah,
it was cool.
I think it's a good mechanic for Assassin's Creed to have, because it's like, if you can use fear to make people do what you want,
right, or to make them run away, or
exactly. But that's what I mean. Like, you want to make people get out of an area, or you want to scare somebody into telling you information. And the Assassin's Creed tenement is like, don't kill innocents.
Right.
So it might stop more innocents being involved in large fights if they are all running away from the area because they're scared.
Right, exactly. No, I liked it. I thought it was good. I liked the story of it. I thought that it was a good little piece of DLC content. So, and it was pretty substantial too, probably around 8-10 hours.
Yeah, I think I completed it in the first... I was like the 5th person to complete the DLC, and I did it on the first night. So, yeah, about 8-10 hours.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I went to bed until about 7 in the morning.
So that was good. Did you play anything else before we played Dark Souls?
Yeah. I played... I finished off the Minecraft DLC, because I did I can't remember if I talked about that before, but I know that I got at least a few achievements to get to 100,000, but I finished them all off afterwards. And I played The Wolf Among Us before I played.
Oh, right, yeah. And what did you think of The Wolf Among Us?
My second favourite Telltale game that I've played. I would rate it better than The Walking Dead, but for me it's still not quite as good as Tales from the Borderlands, but still really well written, good number of choices. I like the characters, because it's like a completely different skew on the fairy tales. It's not Disney fairy tales, which is nice.
Right.
It's the original ones.
Yes.
The grim versions.
And they were quite grim, right?
Oh, they really were in places.
Yeah.
It's like... and it was good because it was I think it was the free Games with Gold version, so I didn't have to buy all the DLC packs, which was nice.
Yes. So yeah, I don't know. I really liked it.
I liked Bigby as the protagonist because it's like the big bad wolf is actually the sheriff, and the reason he's kind of bad is because he has to be.
Right.
Because all the other like fairy tales have their own agendas with everything. So there's some like they have to wear glamour to make themselves fit in with the normal population. But some of them don't want to, some of them can't afford to, and it's like, are you lenient with people, or are you basically just going to enforce the law? So I think I was more law enforcement, like you need to get your glamour or I'm sending you to the farm, kind of thing. But I didn't kill that many people.
Yeah.
It's like, because you have opportunities to kill certain characters off, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do that, I want to see how it turns out.
Right.
I mean, I killed one character because he'd got like stabbed in the stomach and was going to die anyway.
Right. Yeah.
But I like all the twists and turns and how you don't know, even at the end, which side you're on and who's who. It's like it's all interpretation.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, this person said this, and now they're saying this, and this person did this, but did they do it for this reason or that reason? And it's just like, it's so convoluted that you could go back and play it again and come up with a completely different reason why people have done things and who's bad and who's not. And you wouldn't be wrong for following either path, because they're equally as right as each other, because you just don't know.
Right. Well, because most of the characters are pretty gray. I mean, some of them are, evil, and others are clearly, pretty good. But most of them are pretty gray.
Well, it's like Bloody for a comparison, like Bloody Mary. She's definitely evil.
Yeah, she's a bitch.
But Snow White is definitely good.
Yeah.
For the most part.
For the most part, yeah. I think that's
She's
true.
probably one of the more light-sided, morally grey figures.
Yes, agreed.
I'll put it that way. Not saying that any of them are actually bona fide light-siders. Maybe Toad's son, because he's a kid and hasn't been corrupted yet. Poor little fella.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I thought it had a really good story, and I like the fairy tale stuff. I like that, and like putting them in sort of a modern world and having that
not
as
making it all
backdrop.
happily ever after stuff, but grim.
Yeah.
Like they're in a like run down neighborhood like New York, and they're just trying to make their way in the world, and it's not all butterflies and sing-songs like Snow White.
Right, yeah. Well, and it's sort of like after their fairy tale ended, what happens with them when placed in the real world, which is cool.
I would also be happy to see either Wolf Among Us 2 or Tales from the Borderlands 2 before we see another Walking Dead. Because we've had Michonne, and they're talking about season 3 of the Clementine arc. But I'd be like, well, can we not have one of the other two second ones first, please?
Yeah, I know. Because I agree with you, I like both of those better than The Walking Dead. But they're all good, so I'll take what I get. And then we played Dark Souls, yeah?
Yeah, which we will talk a bit about, but I think we're probably going to dedicate an entire podcast to...
Right, to that. Because there's a lot to talk about, and we have one or two other people that we want to include. Hopefully, in that discussion. And so we're going to relegate it mostly to a separate thing. But I think overall, I really enjoyed it. It's probably my favorite of the series. Yeah, I would say the same. After playing it through 3 times for all the achievement. Yep. 4 times. 4 times. But we'll get to that. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think one of my only gripes with it was frame rate issues that we had. But other than that, I thought like the boss fights weren't too similar. I think that was the problem with 2, is some of the boss fights seemed very similar. Someone with a big sword charges at you repeatedly and jumps at you and swings at you, and it's just like, haven't we fought this guy 6 times already?
Whereas this one,
Yeah.
it was like, ooh, a different boss. What's the mechanic going to be?
Yeah, and they had some really interesting patterns and whatnot. I know you hated the dancer, but
The trouble with the dancer was that she was so her movements were so weird. Trying to get like a good couple of hits on her before she'd turn around and absolutely destroy me because she'd do like 7 hits in a row. Whereas, like for you, it was
easier because I was playing as a magic build,
but also
and
your least favorite boss.
my least favorite boss, was Oceros.
Whereas for me, I
Because,
could get jammed underneath him,
yeah,
being melee. So
right, and I had to stay kind of far away, so he was able to do a lot of those, like, charge at you attacks where the second phase of that fight with him, he was just really fast and
I think that was a
twitchy.
definite change from 1 and 2 was the bosses were faster, and I don't know if that's the
Yeah.
influence from Bloodborne because Bloodborne seemed a lot faster paced. I've not played it, but I've seen
Right.
a few
Yeah,
boss fights and
same.
gameplay
I
segments and stuff.
I think probably, yeah, I think they wanted to move away from people just tanking and turtling behind shields and to do more things like the parry system or dodge and attack.
And
And I
also
think,
using the weapon schools that they brought in, so if you dual wield certain weapons, they,
yeah,
you know, or you can have certain shields that would allow you to use your weapon's ability.
right. Yeah, I mean, I think they leaned more toward that, and a lot of the bosses, although this is not a mechanic that we really used, a lot of the bosses were able to be parried and riposted.
Yes.
And I mean, I think it's that way in the others as well, but I think they tried to gear it more toward that because I think they wanted people to play it a little bit faster paced, which is fine. I think it was an adjustment, especially at the beginning, because a lot of the enemies are faster. I think not just the bosses.
That's true. And also you found it more difficult because it seems like the casting speeds were slower.
It
So
felt so slow.
you were at a disadvantage. To
Yeah.
me, like being able to just wade in, kill a boss in a few hits and be done.
Yeah. Like, it was definitely slower going with the sorcerer because, it took so long to cast. You had to make sure that you were far enough away to be able to cast without being interrupted. Then you couldn't get in multiple hits and
And
whatnot.
also having to take AP into account this time rather than
Yeah.
number of casts.
Yeah, the
Not that it's a
FP.
necessarily bad system, it's just one that takes adjusting.
It did. And it was definitely a different play style from the first two if you were a casting character. So it took a bit of adjustment, but I ended up liking it well enough. I like the knight though
Yeah.
as a build much
I
better.
very much like my warrior. Especially when I turned it into a dex strength build and went sword. That
Yeah.
definitely helps.
Yeah. Well, and when I infused my sword with magic
Yeah, the
and
scaling,
then scaled that or kept making that better, reinforcing it. That's the word I'm searching
reinforcing it,
for.
yeah. And also the fact that your intellect, I mean intelligence, I call it intellect all the time, but it's intelligence, was high. It definitely helped having an A scaling magic weapon.
Yeah, definitely. And when I got my S scaling staff, that was
Yeah.
cool. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I enjoyed it a lot. I agree with you. I think the bosses were really interesting and they all felt pretty unique. And there were a couple of just really good moments and like, I don't know, I liked that there were, within so many of them, there was like a thing that you could do to make the fight easier.
Yeah.
Like there was the trick to it that you could do. So like for example in the Yorm fight, there was a particular weapon that you found in the room to use that helped a lot
And also a possible friend.
and also a possible friend. And within the Wolnir fight, there was just like specific things that you needed to do in order to
yeah, because when we got there the first time, we were trying to attack him head on, and it was like, we're not doing any damage.
Right. And then the dragon fight.
That dragon fight.
Like, I killed it straight up, which was funny. But then there's also...
I just couldn't. I couldn't do it because I was doing so little damage.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's got to be an easier way of doing this. And there was.
Which
we'll
see later.
Yeah. Hopefully not too much later. I mean, we are getting through.
Right. I've edited... We just did Pontiff Sullivan in the videos that have posted now, and I've edited through Yorm. And so... I think
we've finished playing the game. The game is done.
Finished playing the game a long time ago.
It's been done like a month or two now.
Yeah.
And we did 3 playthroughs.
Plus one other one for me.
Plus one that we didn't record. Which we should probably talk about now.
Yeah, we should talk about that now. So
my curse has been transferred to someone else.
Oh, God. So we got to, all the collectible things. And when I got my last gesture, my achievement didn't pop. And I guess it was the thing where the system, like Xbox Live, had a little bit of a blip. And so it didn't read it didn't scan that achievement as I earned it. And so it said 100% locked on my achievement tracker. And so it didn't unlock. And I was like, this is ridiculous. And so tried several things. I think I tried exiting out and then trying to get it again, but it had saved it already that I'd gotten it.
And then we also, I think you tried to do plus or something and get one gesture from the next playthrough to see if it...
Yeah.
But you couldn't get any of the gestures again because you'd already picked them up.
Right.
And
I started a new game. And
also we were...
like a new character and collected some gestures on that new character. But
and we didn't know whether it would be like a done unlocking achievement, which I've had quite a bit of experience with and kind of know the ways to get around it to get it to pop.
Right.
We're like, locked? But it seems like that was a little bit of a problem with Dark Souls 3 when it first released, because the Japanese version was released first and some of the achievements were broken. And people couldn't wait to play the game. They really wanted to get their Let's Plays and guides out. So they started it and then found that some of their achievements were locked.
Right, which is
like 100% funny. Locked. But people saying, oh no, if you try and get them all again, it won't unlock the achievement. And then when you ask them if they've tried it, they're like, no, someone told me. So it's like, well, you haven't.
We haven't done it. And so I contacted... So we finished the game. We got everything else. Thank goodness the rings achievement worked.
And that was a good little moment of genius on my part.
Oh yeah, because I got the last ring and my thing didn't pop, and I was like, what?
Because we got them all together.
Because we got them all. And I went back and checked the list several times to make sure I had them all. And then you said something about the rings that you started with.
Any of the rings? And
I said, yeah. So I dropped because you started with the life ring as well, and I did too. But yours popped, so it wasn't the life ring, it was the young dragon ring, I think.
Which you got because you were a sorcerer.
Which I got because I was a sorcerer. And so I just, dropped it, left it up on the ground, and then picked it back up again, and then the achievement popped. So. Yay! Happiness. So we didn't have to do that all over again, but what I ended up doing was transferring as much of my equipment as I could to your character, and then just deleting all of my saves. So my character that you see in the Let's Plays is no more. It's gone. I had to delete it all from my console and from the cloud saves.
You spent, I don't know, at least a good half a day sorting all data off different hard drives in an attempt to back up your saves.
Right.
And the Xbox One system does not allow you to back up your saves.
Yep.
On a hard drive.
They will not let you copy your saves onto another hard drive, which is so stupid.
Were you able to move them? Or you just can't move.
You can't.
You can't even move
do
them.
that. No, all your saves have to be on the box. You can't have
or
saves
on the cloud.
Or on the cloud. You can't have any saves on an external drive, which is
because they don't want people to mod them and cheat.
Exactly. They don't want people to mod it and cheat and this and that.
We'll boost some multiplayer achievements because they're stupid, but we're not effectively cheating. We're just pushing the odds in our favour.
Exactly.
And it's like, I'm not going to mod my box to get... I could mod my box and probably get those FIFA achievements to pop, but I'm not going to because they're gone. They're not ones that I can get legitimately anymore.
Right.
And by legitimately, I mean they're unobtainable. The servers don't exist for that game, so therefore they're not obtainable in any way, shape or form.
Right. So you would have to do some sort of modification to just have it unlock them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we're not going to do anything like that. And very few people do stuff like that. I think it's... I don't know. It's probably more to keep people from pirating things. Is probably what that's for. Because if you mod your box, then you can play pirated games, and you can do stuff like that. So that's probably why...
I never thought of it that way. I always think of it about the achievements, because that's all I have on my brain.
Yeah, but more than likely, it's probably that, which is a shame, though, that you just can't back up your saves.
It's like we're penalised.
Because people...
We're not doing anything wrong.
Exactly. We get punished because, of shady people. Now, the achievement system needing to scan with the online, I think that is about people cheating to get their achievements. And that is something that is just a screw you to the 99% of people who try to unlock things legitimately and now sometimes randomly can't because of Xbox Live.
Right.
But, anyway, so I had to delete all my saves and start fresh with a new character, which was fun, because I played as a knight, and that was awesome.
And I attempted to play as a pyromancer, and then became a knight.
And so
I realised that I'd chosen the wrong career path.
Yeah. You didn't like... I told you that casting. I'm telling you.
I know. I said I probably wouldn't like it and would change to a knight build later.
Yeah. So... In any case, we were 2 knights, so we were Team Nighty Knight, which was fun. And
we were beasting with our longswords.
And we got through and got all the gestures, which was cool. So. And
the achievement unlocked, but it took it a minute or two to do it. So we were sat there going, "It didn't work. God damn it! What are we gonna do?" And then it was like, "Oh yeah, I was just trolling." Bloop. They see me trolling.
It was crazy. It was probably like 20 seconds, but...
It felt like 2 minutes.
Yeah. So anyway...
You know what I'm like, I'm going to hype it up to the max. Yeah, it was
Dark
2
Souls
days.
3 is done. We did it. We had fun. And...
Yeah. I think actually my favourite bit was the final boss fight for New Game Plus Plus.
Yeah, it was. Because we did something special for that, so...
Yeah, so we'll put that out at some point.
Yeah, we'll put that out whenever that playthrough finishes. So, moving forward, Dungeon Siege 3, was that your next one as well? Or no, you played something else?
No, I played Bully and Nero after Dark Souls 3. So Nero I'll touch on briefly as one of those point-and-click puzzle adventure games that I buy when I haven't got anything better to do and they're cheap. Mm-hmm. Which by Rob logic means, I've got another 1000 G, when what it actually means is you've just spent £6 on something that you finished in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Your money to, hourly ratio is definitely bad on those kind of games.
Yeah.
It was fun, it was fine, but yeah, I'm going to try and keep away from, those kind of games that I'm just buying because I'm bored.
Right. Well, because it's like you bought that. So Bully, I think, was a good buy.
Bully was a good buy.
Because that was cheap.
£3. It was £3,
but it was longer.
I spent 30 hours, I think, in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a Rockstar game, and they're usually well written. The graphics weren't the best, obviously, because it's one of the older ones, but
yeah,
it was fun. The story was good. It had plenty of activities, an open world. Some of the favors you had to do were a little bit temperamental, whether they'd show up or not. So I used a guide on the way through to work out exactly when they'd start appearing and then get them done as soon as possible.
Right.
And you needed like a certain number of different challenges and stuff to get 100%. So yeah, it was good. Rolling around on my skateboard and throwing eggs at cars and stuff.
I liked on that game, because I played it a while ago, I liked using the bike and like bunny hopping over large vehicles.
That was good.
It was great when you had that skill to the max or something and you were going really fast. You could bunny hop so high. It was fun.
Yep. I definitely enjoyed Bully. It took me a little while to get into, because I think I've got to the point where I'm a little bit, I don't know, undermotivated for gaming at the moment, and I'm not really sure why. I think maybe I'm like unemployed again at the moment, so it's like I don't have a lot of money, and I have to think about what games I want to get, and a lot of the games I have left to play are ones that I've got for free with Games with Gold, and I'm not as motivated as I could be. And they're 360 games. I don't know why that makes a difference to my mind, but it's like, I want to play on the One. Because, you know, the 360 now feels older to me, because I'd completed all the 360 games I'd bought.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'll get back. I mean, and I've been playing Destiny a lot, and having my box go wrong, and that not being around, and me not being able to play, I think, pissed me off.
Yeah. I think it's just been, you've had a rough few months here with gaming, you know? I think you just fell out of love with it a little bit.
I did. I think because I partially destroyed myself with Gears of War.
Well, and I think because you partially destroyed yourself over the past, year and a half of this just steady charge for completion. And
it was Gamerscore because I had that goal for 2015 achievements in 2015.
Right.
And it ended up with like 2,500 and something.
Yeah. And trying to get to 200,000 gamer score and this and that. And so it was just this mad rush. Because how much gamer score did you get last year in 2015? Let's
67,000.
Yeah. So there's that.
That's not a lot. Okay, that's not a lot in comparison with some people, but I guess that's a lot in comparison with the majority of the population of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it was like I could see where you burnt yourself out on it a little bit just because you complete one thing and then immediately do another one and then immediately do another one, and it was like completion, gotta keep going, and then you sort of ran out of stuff that you really wanted to do.
I think that was the problem. It's like looking back at last time's games, it was like Far Cry Primal and Styx. I mean, I complained about it, but it wasn't the worst game ever, and it was actually fun. It's just the collectibles annoyed me. And Saints Row 4 was good, and Supreme Commander was good.
And Mad Max you liked.
And Mad Max was good. And so was Remember Me. And I mean, Murdered Soul Suspect was fine. And then the Minecraft DLC came out, and I like Minecraft, so that was cool. And I was playing Destiny on and off a bit as well. And then I think it's Gears. I'm going to just solely put the blame on Gears because I'm currently, as we speak, while recording, I am currently grinding out seriously kills again because this is proper rage moment. When I get my box back, or my new box back from being repaired and attempt to download my online progress, it says, can't download, repeatedly. And then it says, do you want to download the last time you played? Yeah, alright, I'll do that. Turns out doing that, well, it wouldn't let me get my old stats back anyway. But it lets me download my stats, but it doesn't let me download the tracking for the achievement, which I had got 8,600 kills. Out of 10,000, reset to 0, and we'd been doing it for over a month. So now I'm currently back shooting Alice 2183 and an alternate.
And Heavenly Tag. my alternate in the face over and I got mine after you got your box back because we were like, better just get it done.
And you did that in a night.
Yeah, I did it in one night of utter madness.
I mean, yesterday for me was madness. I got 1,200 kills.
I mean,
in a day.
Just like mind-numbing grind.
But I think this is the problem with how game releases are set up. Is everything's released in October and November for Christmas, and it's like I would love to have a few good games. Well, I suppose Doom and Quantum Break are on my radar, and they're good games. I just can't afford them. But it's like the majority of games that I want to play will come out at that time of year, which is good in a way because it gives me stuff to get for my birthday, because that's around that end of the year, so that's fine. But it's just like, with how I get through games, I need them to be released at different times so I don't complete them so quickly, because if there's like 4 out at the same time and I like the game, I will inevitably destroy them and complete them all in a month and be like, I ain't got anything to play again. And Dormouse is like, well, you did kind of go a
rush
bit mental.
Through them.
Yeah, because I think this last month, if I get Hitman Blood Money done, I'll have got like 2,500 gamer score. In comparison with March, where I got 8,000 in a month.
Yeah. Which is,
a little bit crazy.
It's madness, but... anyway, so you played Bully, you liked Bully, you played NERO, you thought it was okay?
Yeah, apart from that achievement where you can only get this particular plate of tomato-based food on a Thursday.
That's silly. And then...
so I did change the date on my box.
Right.
And played it offline.
And so then you went back and did Dark Souls 1 a bit?
That might have been after Dungeon Siege. I think. No, I didn't. It was before. Sorry, I lied. Yeah, I went back and fought the Centipede Demon on New Game Plus Plus because I'd never fought it. Because I followed a guide for Dark Souls 1, because I was adamant that it was a pile of turd and I wouldn't like it, and I'd try and get through it as quickly as possible. It still was a pile of turd in places. I'm looking at you, Four Kings.
And stupid archer guys in Anne Orlando.
They were fine for me.
I didn't like them.
But, I went back and fought the Centipede Demon. And went to a piece of Lost Isolith that I'd never been to, where there's like T-Rexes that jump on your head repeatedly. I was like, what the hell are these things? Oh god, it's stamping on me. Please stop. Oh god, it clipped through a wall and stamped on me. This isn't fair.
Yeah.
It's like the foot came through the ceiling of a building, and I was like, really?
Oh, Dark Souls. Sometimes it really is a troll. But yeah, that was the only boss in the series that you hadn't fought. So.
Yeah, because we'd done every boss in
two, including the DLC.
Yeah, including those stupid tigers at the end of the gauntlet of Rudolph the psychopathic reindeer.
Jesus.
Plus electricity.
Yeah, that place was terrible.
Yeah.
But...
At least we have Vengal and Manhunter O'Hara. Hey, babes.
Oh my god. Your girlfriend, Manhunter
my girlfriend,
O'Hara.
to, take the aggro and get squashed. Yeah, so I decided I'd go back and play Dark Souls 1 and then fight the Centipede Demon. And then realised that certain portions of the game were cut off before you got the Lord's Vessel, and I hadn't realised before and got really confused as to why there was a gold barrier in the way. I was like, what?
That's interesting. I don't know that I realised that.
It's like you couldn't get down to Lost Isolith before you got the Lord's Vessel because you didn't know that you needed to go and get the Bed of Chaos Soul. So you couldn't get it early.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had to go through, because I don't think I hadn't got the key from Quaylana's sister or Quaylag's sister. Mm-hmm. I had to fight the flamey stray demon.
Right.
Stray demon?
Fire demon? Fire sage.
Fire Sage, yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, him. I had to fight him again to get through to this centipede demon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, then we played Dungeon Siege 3.
Then we played Dungeon Siege 3, which we'd gotten from Games with Gold
and bought
sometime last year.
Yeah, it was on our radar to do as a co-op game.
Yeah. And then we ended up not doing it as a co-op game because playing in co-op made things more difficult, and we were doing it kind of all in one playthrough on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
Right? No, we weren't. We played through on normal first.
We played through on normal first, but it was just... It wasn't really set out particularly well for co-op. You'd have like limited range between each other, and it would teleport you back to the person.
Right. Well, and then also, like, none of the progress really carried over.
That was it. It didn't carry over, so that like, it would stay in your world. Mm-hmm. Like each time that character gets played, the progress gets saved, so any items they pick up and level up and stuff. But it doesn't like give you credit.
Yeah, so like you can unlock the achievements by playing in co-op, which is cool. But once you got back to your single player game, none of the equipment and stuff that you had collected in the other person's game are transferred over to yours. So I think that's why
it saves on the host's game, so that's why we played it. And I mean, we helped each other out for bosses.
Yeah, we helped each other with some of the bosses, some of the achievements.
Boss,
yeah,
the first major boss. She was a complete difficulty spike. It's just like we'd been, getting beaten a bit and making good progress, and then she just absolutely destroys you. Yeah. And she has 2 phases with 2 full health bars. And the second phase is like the whole room's on fire.
Yeah, it was... Yeah, that first boss fight was so irritating, especially because we were also trying to do the thing where you don't get downed, and the one where you have base level equipment on her, and that just took forever.
We got it done though, but it took like 20 odd attempts.
It was ridiculous.
And it was funny because she was easier on the hardest difficulty than she was trying to do it with base gear on the easiest.
Yeah. It was nutty.
Well, I think I was fairly competent at getting through those bosses on my own half the time, but I came in and helped tank for you a couple of times because they were pissing you off.
Yeah.
I think she because of like the second character you'd picked up in the story, she was a pain in the ass because they just died.
Yeah.
I think it was Lucas, the like melee character. Like he wasn't using the abilities you'd given him, so you needed me to control him so I could just sit and tank.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes the AI's a bit stupid. But
yeah. Definitely. But I would say my favourite character for that game was like the fire mage witch lady called Anjali.
Anjali. She was good. Yeah.
Because she had 2 forms. She could turn into like a levitating, flaming, like a flame atronach of the Elder Scrolls, and throw fire at people, which is the one that I just used for the hard playthrough, because you could put a bed of fire down and it would heal you. Mm-hmm. And
also heal your allies.
And when you got it up to the like over the God, what was it called? Anyway, the higher leveled version. Mm-hmm. You could it would do a ton of damage, and then you could get a pillar of fire that you could stick in the middle of it as well. So people would be like, "Oh my god, I'm on fire, and this thing's raining down on my head." No, I'm dead. Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that game, it was good. I enjoyed the story. I liked that the 4 characters each had a little bit different storylines. Yeah. And so the progression through the story was different for each one, so that was cool.
And you'd pick up different side characters at different points in the story, depending on who you played as.
Right, and it was funny because like their backstories changed depending on who was the player character. So
like somebody was somebody's son in one, and then they were like your half brother in another, and it's like what?
Yeah. Well, I think the way that I think they were still half brothers in both playthroughs, but it was like Katarina was raised by the guild.
Right. Yeah,
in the playthrough where you were controlling her, but in the playthrough where you weren't controlling her, she was raised by the witches.
Yeah. And then in her playthrough, for me, Anjali is the ward of the, like, overseer guy, the guildmaster. Mm-hmm. But I think that changes if you start as Anjali. She's, like, raised by the guild, but I'm not sure if you're actually no, mine's gone blank. But you know.
The child of the... Or the raised as the ward or the child of the
ward.
person.
That's what I was trying to think of. Ward.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was interesting. It was interesting how it was done.
It was surprisingly good. It was surprisingly good for what we thought it would be when we started. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've played the original Dungeon Siege on the PC, but I would say it's quite different. The world's the same, but. I think in that one you'd have like 5 people in your party.
Yeah.
And because that's what I thought was going to happen, is that if you picked up people, you'd have them all at the same time, but it was only 2 people at once unless you were playing online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wish you had had your whole party with you all the time, but it worked. It was fine for what it was, and and the combat I think worked all right.
Yeah.
There were difficulty spikes, and I felt like it was a little bit unbalanced, but
I think I preferred Katarina and Anjali to the other 2, and I think Reinhardt for me, with the fact that he uses like fists in combat, was a bit odd.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked him when I played as him a little. That little the doppelganger thing that he could send out.
Yeah, that was good.
Was good.
It just I don't know. For me, it took. I think I'd have needed to play as him more, because we did the whole summon them in at the end to get the finish the game achievement with them.
Yeah.
And that hard playthrough, I think I saved your bacon on that one when I found out that if you, because I used an alt on my other box and invited them to the final boss fight, killed it on hard, and then it gave them the hard finished game achievement. I was like, yeah, you're gonna hate this boss. You know, not the end boss, because he was fine, but the next but last boss fights.
Right.
The
penultimate boss fight. Yeah.
So bad.
And so instead of having to suffer through hours of frustration, rage, I just got to come in and fight the last boss.
Yeah, because I'd gone through hours of frustration and rage to get through.
So, but you have lots more time than I do, let's be fair.
Yeah, so... I think I have a fair amount of patience.
Yeah, and I do too. I think I have very intense emotional outbursts when
I've learned not to say anything and just let it wash over.
When
to
I'm
check
frustrated.
You periodically haven't burst a blood vessel or lost the ability to speak.
I feel like it sounds like, because I'm very much a person who I think it's better to let that stuff out than it is to just sit there and bottle it up and whatever. So I mean, I'll
bottle it up, and then it will be the like sublime, sarcastic, super toxic tornado finisher move at the end. That's how mine works. Is like,
yeah, I know you're angry when you get just really quiet and you're not saying very much, and then every now and again you'll have this little sarcastic comment. So
I'm doing great. This is really fun. Thank you so much. Deep joy. Something like that.
Something like that. No, I think you're really really pissed off when it's not even that, but it's like, oh, okay. Of course. Yeah. It's that.
It's just it's the under. You can just see the underlying rage.
Yeah. And for me, it's just, cursing.
Yeah.
Just.
I mean, I swear
everywhere.
sometimes, but I don't think I swear that often, and it'll usually be like piss off or something like that, or you bastard.
Yeah. No. And so, I don't know. I have intense moments of being very frustrated, but then they're quickly over, and I'm not really as upset as it sounds like I am.
The funny one is when you say, I hate everything. Everything I hate. Except for you, Rob. I'm sorry. It's like, I know it's not directed at me, but sometimes I can't help myself and go, oh, what have I done?
And if I'm really frustrated, then I get pissed off at that. I'm like, you know I'm not talking about you.
I know, but it's just funny. Because sometimes it's like, you get so frustrated that people just laugh. And you know you shouldn't. And it just happens, and I'm just like smiling, and I'm like, please don't let us see. Please don't let us see me smiling.
I do that with you too. So
I know, I can see you smirking, and I'm like, what are you smirking at? And you're like, oh, I'm just looking at a comment on YouTube. Like, bullshit. There is no YouTube, it's a lie.
I'm just laughing at you and your rage.
Mm-hmm.
But we do that, so. Anyway, Dungeon Siege 3, we got it done, and it was
it was fun.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Good deal.
Four protagonists.
And so after that, continuing with the Dungeons theme, I played a game that I bought like 16 years ago. Or 6. And and hadn't ever gotten the motivation to do. But I finally did it, and it was Dungeons & Dragons Daggerdale. Which was a very, very basic dungeon crawler arcade title. And I'm not 100% sure why I put it off for as long as I did. I bought it for $1. Like I said, like 5 or 6 years ago.
I think it was because it was at the bottom of your list of things you wanted to play. It was like, it's a 200G game. I bought it for $1. It's probably going to be bad, and I want to play this other game like Max or whatever.
Before. So I put it off for a while, but I went back to it, finished it. It was good. All of the characters were fun except for the mage, which was a halfling mage. And it was terrible.
Underpowered.
Oh, God, it was awful. Just, you couldn't do much damage, and it took forever, and then grinding to get to level 10 with that thing was awful. So it was painful, but the Elven Archer was my favorite. It was great.
Yeah, because you love sneaking and archery. I'm
do.
curious to see how you're going to play Skyrim.
No, you're not. I'm going to be my roguey archer character.
I know,
of course.
Are you going to do a playthrough of Skyrim?
I could.
Remastered? I was just thinking about that the other day because it's something I'd like to watch.
Yeah.
Is to see you collecting spoons.
I know, so many spoons to collect again.
And we get all of it all in one go. So you'll get like Hearthfire and be able to build your own house and play Minecraft. No, and then do Dragonborn and Dawnguard.
Dawnguard, yeah.
Blood Dawnguard thingy.
The blood vampire. It's called something blood, isn't it? No, it's Dawnguard. Yeah.
I was going to call it Blood Dragon. I was like, that's not right. Blood Dragon and Trials have baby.
Oh my god. Yeah, so we've watched E3 and
that did make me laugh. I don't know why. Just
I thought it was funny.
Humor.
I thought it was funny too. Those two guys at the Ubisoft convention talking about Trials of the Blood Dragon. Anyway, so D&D I finally finished, which was awesome. And then I also played Max the Curse of Brotherhood, which has been sitting on my tag for a couple years.
Which I've been telling you should get round to play because it was fun.
It was.
And a good-looking little game and nice story and.
Yeah, it was a good little platformer. The mechanics worked really well, and the story was simple but good enough, and
not overcomplicated.
Yeah, and it was interesting, like just using the marker, to draw different things, and
Yeah.
You got more abilities as it went through, and I don't know. I like things like that when it feels like the mechanics are kind of familiar, but also different enough
Yeah,
to pretty much everything else to.
they're familiar from other games, but the way they're implemented in this one was a nice little twist on the
Yeah.
idea.
And so that was fun, and I completed it in a day. So
I was going to say full beast mode on that one.
yeah, I went.
I think it only took
full
me a
beast
day
mode on that one.
Wow, it took me like a day and a bit because I think I started it and then went to bed and then played it the next day and completed it. So.
Yeah, and so
I think that was one of the first. That was one of the first like Xbox One games with gold that I played once I got my.
Well, I think it was one of the first Xbox Live games with gold, and it was on for a few months back when it started.
And it seems to pop up a lot as a game for other countries that don't support certain. Like Japan seems to get Max Curse of Brotherhood about 7 times for its games with gold because there's certain games that aren't popular enough in Japan to even warrant being games with gold.
Yeah, or they couldn't get the rights or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like the licenses are different as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah. No, but what I was meaning, it was one of the first ones I played on my box, because I got my box a year after Xbox One came out, and they'd had games with gold for at least half a year, if not longer.
Yeah, and did you download all the ones before you got your box? Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
So,
A shout out to one of my friends who told me to do that. She was like, Rob, you do realise you can get them online, even though you don't own the box. And I was like, oh, yeah, thanks. So I did, and I think I got like Spartan Assault, Max Curse of Brotherhood, Crimson Dragon, Guacamelee, which I would definitely all play again, except maybe the Overachiever achievement in Crimson Dragon, but other than that, it was a fine game. So those are games that I would have missed out on playing had I not bought games with gold. So if there's any of you guys listening to this and you have 360s and you're thinking of getting ones, make sure you download the games with gold from Xbox.com to give you, some more games to play when you eventually get round to upgrading. Because I think more people will be moving away from the 360s now that they're not being manufactured anymore.
Right.
It feels like
their life cycle is kind of ending.
And like Destiny being, the Rise of Iron not being 360 or PS3 compatible anymore.
Yeah. So next game for you.
Next games.
Games.
I'll do a few.
Yeah.
I played another point-and-click adventure game called Clockwork Tales of Glass and Ink, and I would say I enjoyed that one more than NERO. I liked the art style, it was fun, the story was simple, and yeah, it was good. I think that one was quite cheap. It was like £4, so I don't feel I wasted any money on that one. Then I played Octodad, because I'd seen the Achievement Hunters play it, and I was like, this game looks like it's a bit strange, and the controls are like you control each limb, and I was really interested to see how the mechanics would work. And for the most part, they worked perfectly fine. We'll get to the point at which they didn't a little bit later on, but it's like you basically like start off the game at your wedding, and it progresses through quite a short storyline of about 5 or 6 different levels, and there's most of the achievements were fine. There's a few, like you have to get you have to collect all the ties as collectibles in levels, and there were certain like miscellaneous ones where you had to like knock over all these pedestals as a domino effect, and that took me like half an hour to do for some reason, and I don't know why, because it was easy, and I'm just like, why is this not working? I was so confused, but it worked. But the 2 worst achievements for me was to get all the damn ties, because there was one tie they stuck on the end of this like boom of a crane, and I kept falling off repeatedly, and I was there for 45 minutes trying to shimmy a stupid octopus up a tiny little pole, using controls where you're controlling one arm, one leg, one arm, one leg. It's like shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. No, don't go that way, please don't go that way. Shimmy. Okay. Fell off again. And then the other one was attempting to pull weeds out of a garden without treading on the flowers. When you have the control system of like a toddler, trying, not to run into anything. So I managed it after about 20 odd attempts, and then decided that dear wife's flowers were not worth bothering with, and picked up the lawnmower from the shed and ran them all over. Catharsis. No, actually, gameplay-wise, it was really fun. The story was simple, and I did enjoy it after the rage moments. Right. And I like the art style, and the way that the octopus didn't actually talk, but just kind of went... Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Cool.
And then I guess I can talk about Hitman next.
Yeah.
I bought the Hitman HD pack and Blood Money because they were both on sale. I'm playing Blood Money at the moment, but I haven't been quite as motivated to play it because I think after I got my Xbox One back, I've been trying to do Xbox One games, and I know I've been playing Destiny because I'm having fun playing Destiny at the moment. Again, I have like moments where I'll play Destiny a lot and then I won't play it for like a few months and then I'll go back and play it a lot. So yeah, Hitman HD was like two of the older Hitman games. I think it's Hitman Blood Money, which is Hitman 2, and Hitman Contracts, which is Hitman 3. And they were both originally on the PS2, I believe. But once you get used to the mechanics, the games actually worked pretty well. The problem was that the stealth mechanics in both the games were different. So once you'd completed one, it took a little bit of time to get used to the stealth mechanics in the other one. And the good thing with, the supposed good thing with the first game was that you could play it through on professional difficulty and get all the difficulty achievements. The problem I ran into is I completed the last level on professional, got the achievement for professional, and the other two didn't pop. So I effectively had to go back and replay the last level again to get the expert difficulty to unlock, even though it was on professional, and to get the normal one to unlock, again having to play it a third time. So that was frustrating. But Hitman games are fun for the most part when you can do like the silent assassin runs where you don't get seen and you'd like kill people by misadventure and accident. Oh look, he fell off the balcony. I may have shoved him, but no one can prove that. Or like I poisoned the cake, and it's like everyone died. Oh, I'm so sorry. Was there poison in that cake? That's terrible. I wonder who did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the mechanics worked fine. I don't know, for Blood Money I think the problem I'm having is I'm going to have to play it through 4 times because I'm going to have to play it through for each difficulty level.
Right, because they don't stack. That's always a shame.
That's what's put me off that one for the moment. It's just 4 times. And it's not, I don't know, it's not one that I'm absolutely hyped for. Blood Money.
49 times.
We played that game. But I'll get it done.
And
it'll be a new month soon, and then I can try and play some other games.
Yes. So next for me was The Witcher Blood and Wine, the DLC.
And that was next for me on my list, so we can actually talk about it because that was the point at which my box died. Yeah. So you completed Blood and Wine about a week and a half before I did.
Right.
And were attempting to not spoil anything for me.
Yeah, which was interesting. So I loved this DLC.
I think we should say that we are going to talk about spoilers.
Yeah.
I want to have a good chat.
So, spoilers, skip ahead a couple minutes if you don't want to hear about it.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought this is probably right up there with Lair of the Shadow Broker as one of my favorite DLCs ever.
I would actually say that it is my favorite DLC.
Yeah, I'm inclined to maybe agree with that. I don't know. Lair of the Shadow Broker was good, and especially for me because Liara was my romance.
And I think that's why this one tops it a little bit more for me because Liara wasn't my romance.
Right. So
not that takes anything away from the Shadow Broker because it's still an immense immense DLC
Yeah.
for me.
But this DLC was it was great. It was better than Hearts of Stone, I thought. Because Hearts of Stone was fine. It just, the story of it wasn't 100% interesting to me. I don't know.
Yeah, same for me. I liked the story, but it was too short. I felt the DLC was too short for me.
Yeah.
But this one felt like a whole... I guess this one is just like, it's near enough a game's worth of stuff in its own right. And they didn't suddenly go, yeah, we're going to up the price of our season pass.
We're looking at you, Fallout. Yeah, so it was a good at least 20 hours worth of content if you do all the side quests and stuff. So there was a lot in there, and I think it was all really interesting. It was a completely different area, which was, I think one of the downfalls of Hearts of Stone is that it wasn't a lot of new. It didn't use
a different area.
Because
I would have liked to have seen Hearts of Stone maybe being set in the like Asian type area that some of the people came from.
The Ophieri?
Ophieri, yeah. It would have been cool to have gone to Ophir and seen like maybe like a, like not quite as large an area as Toussaint, but at least like a small area to get a feel for a different location.
Right, because I think part of what was so good about this one, Blood and Wine, was that it was a completely separate area from the main game. It had its own look, its own feel, its own music, its own like culture about it, which was cool. And
it's basically based on Knight Chivalry Knight France. God, me and my language skills sometimes, I do apologise.
Yeah, medieval France. And I don't know, the story was interesting, the whole mystery of who killed these people. Who killed these people and why and what was going on, and it had enough twists to it to keep it interesting, but nothing ever felt like it came out of nowhere either. Like all of it felt like it had good build up for it to make sense, which was good.
It also for me added information to the lore side of stuff that I didn't really know about, because it centers around like the royal family of Toussaint and a daughter that's effectively ostracized, more for the fact of what people believe is wrong with her. They like a self-fulfilling prophecy. They kind of make her into the beast that they want her to be.
Right.
So she is the problem child, and she
was
doesn't really.
She was born on a certain day.
She was born on the day of the black sun, which I think means she was born on an eclipse.
Right.
That's what I was taking from it.
And so, because of that, she was labeled as like, oh, she's going to be this bad person, and then she was treated that way. And
became the bad person because of her treatment.
Right. And
she also was a little bit of a problem child. So she had that, she wasn't like, she misbehaved a lot more than her sister.
Right. Well, I actually don't think so, because like when you listen to those things, there were times when Sienna misbehaved, and then there were times when Anna misbehaved, and vice versa.
And it was skewed because her parents thought that it was more majoritively her than her sister.
Right. And I think a lot of times, like, she might have gotten blamed for things that her sister had a part in as well. And so, I thought that was interesting. And then I think the lore about the vampires and how an elder vampire can only be truly killed by another elder vampire was interesting.
Or they can be resurrected by another elder vampire as well.
Yeah.
So they have a character that comes back in that has obviously been in the Witcher story somewhere before. I don't know if he was in the first game or whether it's like the pre-first game lore stuff that they've already built up. But he's a guy called Regis, and he's an elder vampire. And it turns out that he was killed and imprisoned in like a pillar or something. Mm-hmm. And there's another vampire called Dadliest who is basically being manipulated by Sienna to do her bidding. Mm-hmm. Because she was in love, or they were in love with each other. Mm-hmm. Or he was in love with her and she was, interested to see what a relationship would be like with an elder vampire, and then
Right.
she convinces him that she's been kidnapped when really she's kind of kidnapped herself. She's just joined a bandit group and is using him to get revenge on the people that exiled her.
Right. Yep. And so yeah, I don't know. I think the story was really interesting. I loved that like fairy tale world that we've been talking about fairy tale worlds.
Yeah,
today.
you like your fairy tale.
I do. Like the twists on the fairy tale stuff. So when you like go into the book at the end, if you choose to do that, which is another cool thing about this, is that there's a lot of different paths, or maybe not a lot, but a few
there's
different
at least
paths.
three. There's three different paths to the endings you can take.
And, different stuff that will happen based on, what you've said and even the things that you've looked at and the conversations that you've had and how you talked to different characters.
As far as people are aware at the moment, because the DLC is still quite new, I guess they'll hash out exactly what things you need to do to get which endings.
Right.
If that makes sense.
But, yeah, I think that was very cool. How that worked out. I liked like I said, the fantasy world that you go into or can go into, and I like the branching paths. And I really liked Regis. I thought he was a good character.
Yeah, I like Regis.
And interesting to, have conversations with Geralt and this and that.
And like they have a good rapport because they've been friends for a long time, and he's trying to save the other vampire.
Right.
Because he feels like he's been manipulated, and that how the vampire's emotions work is different to us. Right.
Like, they're a lot more emotional. Like, their emotions are much more intense.
Yeah. So, with how it ends, it can either end well, partially well, or very badly. So it's like everyone dies, nearly everyone dies, or everyone... Wow, okay, 2 out of the 3 live.
Most
basically.
Everyone lives.
Most everyone lives.
Yeah.
Because you basically have to decide. And I love the way they did the story, is like, you don't feel bad for whichever one out of Sienna or Detlef dies. Because it depends on how you view... For me, it depends on how you view who's wrong and who's right. Like, is Detlef wrong for killing those people and, effectively starting a war to... force people's hands, or is it Sienna for manipulating him in the first place? Because it's like, he wouldn't have done any of that stuff if she hadn't have forced him into a corner and basically said, you need to kill these people.
That's true. I don't know. For me, I feel like you're correct. It can go either way, and I think both of them did bad things and deserve whatever consequences happen from that.
Yeah.
For me, I went with, or my, I guess, sort of canon is to side with Sienna, the sister.
Sienna.
And my reasoning is because I can see why she did what she did, and the people who she had him kill were very targeted, specific people that in her mind deserved to be killed. He slaughtered a bunch of innocent people.
Yeah.
Because he went into this like rage after finding out that he'd been manipulated by her, which in my mind, I understand why he did that, and it was just a little bit worse, and I felt like there was a little bit more redemption for her than there was for him, and I mean, just in my opinion. And so I liked that ending better, particularly because I had the conversations with her to make it so that she was able to like come around and not actually want to kill her sister, and they reconciled, and I thought that was a nice ending. So
cool.
It sucked that Regis had to leave, but
yeah, that's why I kind of let Detlef live in one of mine. Because I was like, nah, I don't like you, Sienna. You're a manipulative bitch. And you can blame everything on what other people have done to you, but she still did half of that stuff herself. Like, after she'd been kicked out and so on, she manipulated him into killing people and used him. And he justifiably goes a bit nuts. And then it's like, do you force Regis to kill him? Do you let her die? Or do you just go all out, I hate everybody, and kill everyone? So you can basically make it so that you get Regis to kill Detlef. I don't know what happens in the Elder Vampire ending, where you go to the Elder Vampire and I assume he summons Detlef, and then I guess that Regis has to kill him again.
I would guess so,
because it seems like that in 2 of the endings, Regis gets kicked out, because basically there's rules within vampire society that you don't kill other vampires.
Right.
So he kills a vampire because I think I can see your point at the fact that it feels like that Detlef can't integrate into human society.
Yeah.
Because he just goes into rages. But I also feel like that Sienna should be punished for manipulating him, and that caused there to be innocents killed. If she hadn't manipulated him, then he wouldn't have gone into a rage and killed them. So she's...
She is at fault too, yes. But it... Just because you're mad doesn't justify your actions later, I think. So
no, but that's my... that's why in my canon ending, Detlef is dead. Because I agree that I just felt sorry for him. That he seemed like a reasonable individual until she manipulated him. Although, I think he still killed people. From what was said, like from what Regis said, that he has killed people in the past.
Right.
So, I guess Regis owes him one because he brought him back from the dead.
Right.
So he was trying his best. But with Sienna and I don't know if there is an ending where Sienna and Detlef die without you going to prison. Like, I don't know if you don't talk to her, does she always kill the queen? Or can you persuade the queen that she needs to dispose of Sienna? Because I know there's an ending where everyone dies because Sienna isn't reconciled with her sister and stabs her in the neck, and then Sienna gets shot with a crossbow bolt and dies. So Detlef, Sienna, and the queen are all dead.
Yeah. So obviously
I don't know
that's
whether
the best ending.
No, it's not. I don't know whether there's one where you can have the queen alive and Sienna either, hung or put in prison, depending on what happens. I don't know. And Detlef dead. Because I don't know whether, like, having Sienna alive after the Detlef fight and her being hostile always results in Anna Henrietta's death, or whether the only way to stop her killing her sister is to have Detlef kill her, and then obviously the queen hates you.
Right.
More research is needed.
Yeah, I think either Detlef or Sienna have to die. Like, I don't think that there's an ending where everybody is alive. I don't.
No, I wasn't talking about everybody being alive. What I was talking about was Detlef is dead in both endings. No, he's not. I was talking about 3. So in one of them, Detlef is dead, Sienna lives. And then in the other one, Detlef lives, Sienna dies. So that means the queen lives and Detlef is alive.
Yes.
But in the ending where you kill Detlef and Sienna lives, does that always result in the queen's death if you don't become friendly with Sienna? Or does it result in Sienna and the queen... Sorry, does it result in you being able to either persuade the queen to reconcile with her or, put her in prison? Or does Sienna being hostile always result in the queen dying? Like, will she always kill the queen?
Or can you convince the queen that she's not good?
Dangerous, and therefore put her in prison. So is there effectively like 4 endings? I
guess that's possible.
Because I don't know. That's what I was trying to get across in a really convoluted way.
I'm like,
basically, with Sienna alive and her not being on friendly terms with the Queen, does it always result in the Queen dying? Or can you persuade the Queen that Sienna's dangerous and needs to be imprisoned? Because I guess you could show her the letter and say, look, you were number 5.
Yeah,
She's going to kill you.
You could.
Because I didn't do that when I was trying to reconcile them. I didn't think it would be helpful.
Right, yeah, no, I don't think I did that either. I showed it to the captain guy.
I didn't. And it still ended well, so I don't know. What did he say?
Oh, he was like, well, because I warned him, and this may be where you could save. It's possible that you could save the Queen if she was still hostile, because you could tell him, and he was like, okay, well, we'll be on our guard or something like that.
But the thing is, she kills the Queen when they're embracing each other. Mm-hmm. So I don't see how they'd be able to kill her quick enough at that stage of the conversation to stop her from killing the Queen. But
it could be that that's based on that the hug happens because of dialogue choices that you make.
Because the guards put 2 axes down in between them, like to stop the Queen walking forward to embrace her. Mm-hmm. So maybe if the lead guardsman knows that, then he's not going to let her go through.
Right.
It's like, this is what she wants. She wants to kill you. Mm-hmm. And that little kid, the shoeshine kid, he was cool.
He was funny.
He was fun.
So in any case, this was really good.
I think our point of view of a good story or a good DLC is that we debate it for like days after we finished. Like, oh, what would happen if we did this? And what did you do? And because you also get a vineyard.
Right, you get a vineyard, and then if you've completed the game, you get a visitor, depending on...
me, depending on your romance option.
Or, I guess if you didn't have a romance option, Siri shows up.
I don't know if Siri shows up.
She does, I've seen it.
Siri... Ooh, that's cool. Mm-hmm. But that's assuming Siri's alive. Mm-hmm.
I think she'll show up
if she's the Witcher?
If she's the Witcher, and if she's the Empress. And so I've seen, like, if she's the Empress, she talks about how she's unhappy and how she might leave, like she might run away. And if she's the Witcher, she says basically like, "Oh, my dreams come true. I love my life."
I know.
This and that.
I love the fact I got the worst ending the first time I played The Witcher. I basically got Geralt dies.
Yeah.
Because Ciri doesn't come back. And I'm damn sure that she's not dead. I just don't think she's come back.
I think she's not dead because
she defeats the White Frost and then she goes, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm like 75% certain that the next game is going to have her as the protagonist.
Oh, I hope so.
I hope so.
And I'd love it to be multi-worlds.
Yeah,
like
that
she
would
goes
be
to
cool.
different worlds.
Yeah.
Because that was one of my favourite parts of The Witcher. Was just, okay, Geralt is now travelling across universes.
This is
with Avalac.
So you get a visitor, and we would, well, I hadn't finished the game yet, so at some point I'll go back and do that and get my little
and
Geralt
this
lives
was
happily ever after
my
with
Yennefer playthrough.
Yeah.
So I didn't have my Triss.
Yeah, you'll have to go back and play it again with your Triss ending.
Yeah, I will.
Have Triss show up.
I'm going to have to replay the entire game.
I mean, it's such a shame that we might have to play this amazing game again, right?
Yeah.
Any excuse that we could use to play The Witcher again, I think we'll take.
We are going to have to... I think me being annoyed with video game... Well, not having the motivation to play new video games might work well for us attempting to do the go back and play old video games stuff.
Yeah, which we still want to do, and I've been itching to do it.
I know.
Actually. So, it's just the problem of not having enough time, and I have about 1,000 projects that I'm trying to work on for the channel.
I'm gonna try this year to stop you buying so many games at Black Friday.
No, I'm gonna stop myself from buying so many games.
And I think maybe you might have to not play that many PlayStation ones if you're still trying to.
No, that's true. That's true.
And have them just on your backlog for a little while
while
you're
they have
clearing
been
your Xbox.
for half a year.
I know, but they might have to be on there for a bit longer.
Yeah. So, but we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. But anyway, Witcher was awesome. Love it.
Would play again.
Would play again right
Will
now.
play again.
We'll play again soon. So after that...
Witcher. Skellige deck for...
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Gwent.
Oh my god. So good. I love it. And I like that new Gwent game that they're putting out. They replaced Nilfgaard with Skellige. And I'm quite happy with that. That's more
balanced.
Yeah.
That was just a quick side note. Gwent for the win.
Yay, Gwent. And yay, Skellige. Because, oh my god, the bears and then the Ceres card.
Ceres,
that's just...
when she brings all her shield maidens in, it's just like, no bitch.
It's worth like 50.
I know. And then you put a horn on and it's like...
And it's like, you're crushed.
And I did like their round 3 effect where they bring 2, 3 cards back from the grave.
2 random cards from your discard pile back. Yeah. Which is cool. Yeah, the Skellige deck was really good. I enjoyed it.
I still like Northern Realms more, but that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, I like them both, and I think they're both good for different reasons. Sometimes Skellige can be a bit of a glass cannon at times.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the things stack, if they use a burn card or something, scorch card.
Or if you scorch yourself with that stupid pirate.
Yes! The pirate that scorches your own cards.
No, he scorched himself at one point. I was like, what the... I literally played him and he scorched himself and I was like, really? Really?
Well, and when there was one point where he got redrawn from my discard pile in the round 3, and he scorched himself in the other card, and I'm like, what?
I remember.
And it didn't scorch the other person's card because for whatever reason it was like my cards got played first, even though the other person had won the round before, and so their card should have been played first. Ah! Anyway. Yeah.
Right,
Skellige Gwent was fun. Next I played Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Which is going up on the channel now, and I've got some more to edit for it, but I'm finished with the game. It was good. I enjoyed it. I think it lived up to what I thought it should be as a reboot of the series, which is not exactly what I thought it was going to be. I had heard that it was a prequel, but I don't think that it is. I think it's just a complete reboot of the series, which is fine. Because the story for the original Mirror's Edge was okay, but it wasn't amazing. And so to reboot it here was fine. I thought that the story was it was fairly predictable what was going on, and I'm not gonna, since it's sort of a newer game, I'm not gonna spoil anything, I hope. But it was pretty easy to predict, what was gonna happen. But I think it was told well enough that was okay. And the mechanics worked really well. I think the mechanics worked better in Catalyst than they did in the original. And they worked really well in the original, so... Good.
Improving on something that's already good is definitely good.
They added in this mechanic called Shift, which allows you to gain speed really quickly. And, right when you start. Which you had to do some kind of weird side jump boost thing that I never really could do in the first one in order to get that. And so adding just a right trigger press that would allow you to do a running start was really good. I think that was a huge improvement. They also added a mag rope that allows you to hook onto things and grapple up or swing across areas. And so that added a bit to the traversal and allowed you to just keep moving through different areas. The graphic style I thought was really good. And so just the nice, clean, crisp, whites with the other kind of bright colors that they have in the world. it just works, and it's interesting, and it's pretty unique. It's not like a lot of things that are out there, which was cool. So that worked well. And definitely improvement in terms of the graphics for like cutscenes and stuff. So in the original, all of the cutscenes were kind of, it was like comic style or like graphic novel style for the cutscenes and stuff. And in this one, it was fully animated.
Nice.
And so that was cool. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and I feel like this is a complaint that some people have, but I think that it's actually a positive. The dashes and stuff were not nearly as annoying and frustrating.
Nearly as precise as the speedruns from 1.
As the speedruns and time trials from 1. And I'm going back and doing, because I never really had done those. I had tried them a little bit and said, this is ridiculously stupid.
And it's also a good time to do them because I'm tying your 1-up with gears boosting, so you can go back and play some 360.
Play them on the 360, which is cool. But yeah, like, just so many of those, the timing is so ridiculous, and you have to do these silly skips and whatever. And now, in the dashes for Catalyst, you definitely needed to do some skips in a lot of them in order to have, a different route, or not quite the route that it tells you to take. You like take a shortcut or whatever. But they were for the most part a lot shorter. And I don't know, they just felt like they worked better and were much less frustrating. And I've heard people complain that, oh, it's too easy, me. And it's like, well, you can create your own time trials. Or you can compete on the leaderboards to try to get the fastest time.
You don't necessarily need achievements for speedruns for people to still do speedruns. They can do them themselves. But you and I find it difficult with speedrun achievements. Yeah. It's like the Master Chief Collection. Those legendary speedruns, some of them are ridiculous, especially like Halo 2, where it has 15 levels. Some of them, like one's a cutscene, and they're longer than a lot of the levels in 3 and 4, yet you still have to do it in under 3 hours, and it's very, very tight. Whereas like Halo 3, because I think it's the one that I've played the most, I can get people through the legendary speedrun for that fairly quickly.
Yeah.
And you don't need massively good times because there's only 9 playable levels, or even 8 playable levels.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know, I feel like achievements, and this is just my opinion, but achievements on games should not be something that only the top 0.01% of players should be able to do without massive frustration and hair pulling. It should be something that, yes, some of them take some effort, but don't make you want to snap your disc in half in order to do it. And if you want to do crazy things like, ridiculous times and speed runs and skips and things and whatever, then there is a community for that, of people who enjoy that and enjoy watching people do that and is interesting to see. But I wouldn't want an achievement in Dark Souls to go through the game in under an hour.
Or to do the game without dying.
Or to do the game without dying.
Without a bonfire.
Yeah. I wouldn't want that because it just ups this level of elitism and frustration for the majority of people, and I think it's unnecessary. If you want to do that, do it. There doesn't have to be an achievement for it. And for people to say like, oh, the game's too easy or whatnot, it's like, well, the achievements might be... Yeah, the achievements might be easier, but the game itself is exactly what you said, as easy as you make it. You can make your own challenges and stuff. And I think that's what a lot of people bitch and moan about, is that, oh, the achievements are too easy or whatever. And it's like, I guess people have a very different idea of what achievements are.
And not ridiculous.
Yes. Achievements should be achievable without having to put in 500 hours and or being one of the top players in a game. You know? One of the top, 1-2% in a game, or less, even. Precisely. In certain things, So that's just my opinion. But for Mirror's Edge Catalyst, I was happy. Achievements. I was happy with the achievements. And nothing was glitchy or anything like that, so it's good.
Right.
What next for you?
Now, Fallout DLC.
Oh, yeah.
And that's it, because I've already touched upon Blood Money and I haven't completed it yet.
Yeah. So, Fallout DLC, that's the Far Harbor DLC and
and Contraptions Workshop. So, Contraptions Workshop, a bit of a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's just a few extra gadgets to put on your settlements that you can build a few bits of armor and some explosives and stuff from the crap that you've picked up.
Yep.
Across the wasteland. You can stick somebody in a stock, and Fallout lied to me. You can't put Mama Murphy in the stockade because she can't be told to do anything.
Yep, because she just sits there in that chair.
Well, no, she doesn't sit there in that chair because I put a chair on the top of a tower that she won't go up.
So she just stands there.
Yep.
That's
looking
hilarious.
at Sean. It's like, leave him alone. He's not yours. Bugger off. Stop giving him drugs.
Mama Murphy!
Yeah. Sean does not want any jet. Get away from him. But yeah, basically Contraptions was just like, if you're into the whole constructing a really good settlement kind of, then that's cool. But I feel like things like that really should just be title updates that you don't need to pay for.
I agree.
It doesn't feel like they add,
Very much.
The addition of them is not worth £4 of my money.
No, it's not.
Because like the things for The Witcher, where it was armor sets and a mission or two, or New Game Plus, different outfits for companions, reskins for cards, free.
All that was free.
And there was like 20 packs of them. And Bethesda, with their mountains of money, can't give us a conveyor belt and a few things for free. And they have to up the price of their season pass, with that included on it as one of the 6 things.
Yeah.
The same with the whole workshop, arena, animal fighting trap, contraption crap.
Yeah. All of that, those 2 DLCs were stuff that should have been title updates, like you said. That stuff should have been free. It shouldn't have been paid for content.
But
now, Far Harbor, on the other hand, worth the money, really, for it standalone, worth the money. Yeah.
For whatever you'd pay for it on its own. I think it's like £10, something like that. I might have to check that.
Let's take a little look. Let's take a gander.
Okay, this is the bets moment, people. I'm putting £10 on.
I'm gonna say
Harbor.
and I'll say $15, which is about the same amount of currency.
Well, no, it'd be $13 now because exchange rate with the pound being flatlining. And no, I'm not talking about the referendum.
It's a perfect moment when we were trying to find something for my Gears of War to disconnect.
Yay! I've hit 5,000 kills.
That's awesome.
Right,
so we'll try to get that back up.
So you're not going to have a recording of us just randomly rambling.
Yep. This is perfect fodder for this thing. Far Harbor.
Come on. It's a race. I'm losing because it won't work the damn
it is $25
for Far Harbor. Oh yeah, because they upped the price for the season pass to $60, didn't they? £20. Really? No, not worth it. £10. £10. £20? For that little island? It's not.
It was a good bit of content, but it wasn't as much as Blood and Wine. Let's see how much Blood and Wine is on its own. $20. Yeah. And the expansion pass, which is for both things, is $25. So you can get both DLCs for The Witcher 3 for $25.
£16 for Blood and Wine. Expansion Pass is £20, and you get Hearts of Stone.
Yeah.
So you get all of the DLCs for The Witcher for the same price as Far Harbor standalone.
Yeah.
It feels like Bethesda's been bought by EA.
It feels a little bit like that. I would say $20 is probably what it's worth.
Yeah, I would say $20, so that's like...
I mean, I know it sounds nitpicky over $5, but I don't know.
With how many DLCs come out these days, those extra £5 or $5 add up over time. That's like, oh, I could have got Doom this month, but I can't because of these 7 DLC packs that were overpriced.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Indeed. So anyway, but aside from how it's too expensive for the content in it, it was good DLC.
It was good DLC.
The story was
interesting. Mm-hmm. We say that a lot, the story was interesting.
Well,
it's just how you describe these kind of things.
Yeah.
It had a good number of side activities to do. It had a few more settlements. The island, it was a bit drab, but that made sense with where it's situated. Yeah. And there was enough interesting locations to go and look at.
Yeah.
And
it had the amazing side quest with what's her face? What was the lady's name who
the
was
Mariner.
Sick? The Mariner, yeah. It had the amazing side quest with her where you went to fight this uber powerful mud crab.
Yeah. That was about how big?
It was like, I don't know, 5 inches tall.
Yeah, it was nothing. We are spoiling things, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. So, but yeah.
No, we'll say we're spoiling stuff, and then we can just talk about it.
Yeah. So that was cool.
Oh, yeah, I like the fact that it had multiple directions in which you could do the story, like the main game did. Mm-hmm. But the story, for me, I found more engaging in this one. Like, you're sent to find a runaway girl who thinks she's a synth and has gone to join the commune there, and then from there it kind of branches out depending on which factions you want to support. Because there's 3. There's the synth commune, there's the Far Harbor settlers, and then there's the Children of the Atom who have taken up residence inside an old nuclear submarine.
Yes.
And it's kind of like, who do you side with? Do you want them all to live or a couple of them to live? And you have to make some hard decisions. Like some of the other factions have already made. It's like, do you tell certain people these things and create unrest, or do you try and create peace and have everyone alive? And I think for me, I decided that the Children of the Atom weren't worth keeping. So I may.
I think I did that too. Although I think I went back and did it where you had all of them alive.
I did that too. And it's also because you get rid of one of the leaders and replace them with a synth.
Yes.
So that might be preferable. Because it sounds like the leader before the one that took over now, who was in contact with the lead synth, was actually a reasonable human being.
Yeah.
Whereas this other guy's is just
a religious zealot asshole.
That being said, I did like the Children of Atom armor with all the hazard symbols and atom drawings on them.
Yeah.
So that now me and Piper are running around with that, and I've given Piper a giant atomic sledgehammer.
Yes.
That you get as a reward.
Yes, that was awesome.
So much better than that terrible pistol that she just insists on using, even though I gave her a better one. She's like, no, this is my original, I love it, I'm using that. It's like, I've given you one with full upgrades and an extended magazine. Nope. Not getting rid of Betsy or whatever.
Whatever. Pistol.
What did Zaid call his auto rifle? There was one that he had that had lasted forever, and it was shitty and all horrible.
Right, it was it was something like that, like Bertha or something.
This may or may not be worth Googling.
So What was it? It was like Dahlia or Deidre or something.
Jesse.
Jesse. Yep, that was it.
That shitty rifle. And me went through a lot. It's just like Arzaid.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Far Harbor, it was good. I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. It's the best DLC by far for...
Yeah, the Mechanist was good for what little story it had.
Yeah. For what it was, that one was fine. If the other two that are just like basically add-on like building packs, had a little bit more to them, like the Automatron DLC, then they would be much better.
We wouldn't feel so aggrieved about the price, but for the fact that they're just, like 3 achievements associated with you building a couple of things, and it took us an hour, and I paid £4. You paid.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't, but we paid the season pass price, and for the people that are buying the season pass now, and it's like 45 quid.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Although Nuka World's supposed to be story based.
That's true, but I can't see it being any bigger than Far Harbor.
Far Harbor, no. And also Vault Tech. I'm not sure what they're going to do with that one, because are you going to be able to build a vault at every one of your settlements? Because some of those are going to be very small.
Yeah. I would think there's probably like 3 or 4 set locations that you can make one.
Because I think you might be able to build one at...
Sanctuary.
I was going to call it Serenity, and I was like, that's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sanctuary, and maybe the drive-in where you can set up a base for the railroad. Mm-hmm. Because that one's really flat and quite large. And maybe the castle, because that's quite large in the middle. You could maybe put underneath.
Yeah.
I don't know. Be interesting to see.
Because there is already a vault really close to Sanctuary.
I know there is.
And so
maybe there'll be set locations in other areas that you can do it.
Right.
Then maybe they'll have set vault space. Mm-hmm. Like settlements that are just set up to be vaults.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the underwater vault, but then that never materialised. It makes sense that Vault Tech would have a scuba one.
Yeah, and that might be a place where you can make one of your own.
That mission in Far Harbor was good. The vault with all the robots, and it's the whodunit.
Yeah, that one was cool. I liked that.
And I actually solved it as well, so I was quite pleased with myself.
Yeah, I did too.
I was like, you are not who you appear to be. God damn it, you found me out. Please take this pre-war money that you're only going to turn into cloth when you put it in your sanctuary workshop.
Funny. I use my pre-war money though as currency, because I'll like trade it if I'm buying something. So like I needed to buy a bunch of concrete or whatever in order to and steel to do the contraptions, and so I just traded some of my pre-war money for that. So
I had enough steel. I had like over 500 steel already, so I had plenty. So all my Contraptions DLC was me just building steel walls.
Yeah, I did that too.
It's like, look at all these steel
I made a
walls.
teddy bear.
I was like, I was going to try and see if I could make a heavy robot armor chest, because that's the only one I need from that set to have a full set of the heavy gear. Nope, you can't build them. All you can build is leather armor, combat armor, and metal armor, and that's it. I was like, really? That's the only armor you can build?
That sucks.
Unless there was a machine that I missed that was like upgrade armor, but
yeah, that's weird. Or unless you had to have a certain perk or something, but usually it's listed and it just tells you can't make it because you don't have the perk.
Yeah, exactly. It just didn't come up on the terminal. It only had like I think the 3 different kinds of leather armor, heavy, combat armor, and metal armor. So.
Yeah.
And I scrolled down to the bottom. I might have to go and have another look at that next time the DLC comes out, because we're supposed to be getting the Vault-Tec one in July, and then Nuka World in August, I think.
Yeah. So, we'll find out. And we'll find out once everything's out if it feels like... I mean, I think, because I only paid $30 for the season pass, I think that it'll definitely be worth it for us.
Yeah.
You know, the price that we paid for it, but I think it's a little bit shit that they upped the price.
Increase the price for everybody else.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I don't like that. So, couple other things for me. So I finished the Rise of the Tomb Raider Cold Darkness Awakened DLC.
Yeah. I would definitely say that the Tomb Raider DLC is far worse than the main game.
Yeah. I agree. Well, because most of it's not really story. And the story one, the Baba Yaga one, was not that great.
It wasn't really well written and
too
short.
It was too short. Yeah, it was too short and
I like
and very
the survival.
predictable.
I like the endurance mode survival one
I did
the
too.
most out of the DLCs. I wouldn't say it's like my favourite kind of DLC ever, but those survival ones where they're well done, apart from that one achievement to not set up any traps.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. And then this one was somewhere in the middle. You know, I felt like it was long enough
for what they wanted
out of it, and to be kind of like this horde mode thing, because you effectively could make that last for as long as you wanted to, and just see how long you could survive while
precisely,
you know, killing more and more and more of those zombie creatures, and the puzzles were interesting. I did like that.
I liked the towers, that they were never the same.
Yeah, that they were sort of random and
you had to think, like, is that a pipe or is that a valve? Mm-hmm. And like, which level is this box going to be on this time, if there are any? And it's like you've got to search the tower a few times.
Right, and where's the flag that tells you what country, you know, and this and that. No, I enjoyed the DLC, and I thought, you know, it was fine. It was fine for what it was. It's not like one of the best DLCs of all time, but it was decent.
Decent.
And not super difficult, although I raged a couple of times trying to do
it
it without
did,
dying.
because like the first time you played through it, you didn't die.
Yeah, I think that was what... It annoyed me. I think things annoy me more when I think that they're going to take less time than they do. Because time is just such a limited commodity for me.
But that's the trouble with the Tomb Raider achievements, is they were all challenge-based in the DLC. Like the Endurance DLC and that DLC. And it's like, if they'd have just been normal, oh, I've made it through without dying, achievement unlocked, rather than I only have 5 slots for challenges, which means I can only get 5 achievements.
Right, which means that I did it without dying the first time through, but didn't get the achievement because I didn't have that selected. And then when I put it on... Of course, you know... You
died.
I died.
A couple of times.
Because of stupid things like her not grabbing onto a ladder. And...
That's one of the mechanics that gets me killed in Dark Souls, is like ladder dead, because your character decides that they don't know how to use the hands. They don't want to grab onto
it right at that moment. Yeah.
The best one was the Profane Capital one, where it's like 20,000 feet up and you just fall forever. So you've got a good like 10 minutes and you can go and get a cup of tea and... I'm now looking at my watch. I'm like...
Yeah. So,
kind of thing.
Anyway, that DLC was fine, and it's done, and I did record it, so I will be...
That should be going up at some point after Dark Souls is done, maybe?
Well, I don't know, probably during the middle, because Dark Souls is going to go on for a while, so I'm also going to be uploading Mirror's Edge, and hopefully that Tomb Raider DLC at the same time as it's continuing to go up. So,
yeah. Cool.
There's
so
that.
Expect to see some Tomb Raider
sometime in the next 3 years. So
yeah, soonish, meaning next decade.
Yeah. And then the last couple of things that I just recently did over this past weekend was Child of Light, which I had gotten from Games with Gold quite a while ago. just like Max, and it was really good. I really enjoyed Child of Light.
I've played Child of Light twice because I bought the original on the 360 and then got the Xbox One version for free with Games with Gold.
Yeah.
So
it was simple, but everything worked really well. The upgrade system, the battle mechanics, and it was a nice kind of almost retro in a way. Battle system.
Like the graphics were nice and they looked nice, but they were simple.
Yeah.
They were like a children's storybook kind of.
Yeah. It was
the way
very
they were animated. It was nice.
It was a very nice, like animated, stylized type
and the music.
Aesthetic. The music was really good too, and then just the writing I felt was really good. So that everything rhymed, and then they had certain characters that they had their characterization come across. So like the Robert, the little mouse, was very. He came from a group of villagers where it was all about economy and trade and that kind of thing, and so he would always be talking about things in terms of that. And then you had the jester characters that were brother and sister, where one of them was supposed to be the comedian, the comedic one, and she would always say something that wouldn't rhyme, and then the other characters would correct her and suggest a word that did rhyme with what they were saying. And I just thought that was cool. And then her brother was like the tragic one, and the one that was sad, and like he would be always talking about how things were horrible.
It's like the two faces for the drama symbol, the tragedy and the comedy.
The tragedy and the comedy, yeah. And I don't know, the story, again, it was simple and kind of predictable and whatnot, but it worked. And I think this is a trend that I'm seeing within myself, is I kind of am favoring these stories that are more kind of simple but well done over things that are trying to be overly convoluted and complex.
Yeah, but sometimes convoluted and complex, when done well, does make for a great story.
That's true. Like, for example, I really enjoyed Quantum Break, and I would class it as a more complicated story that you kind of have to pay attention to.
And I would say the same with The Witcher. That had a really good story, complex story.
Yes.
But it made sense. Whereas, like, Mass Effect 3, they tried to do Deus Ex Machina, and it failed.
They tried.
And they tried to bolt on their story onto two games that had slightly, different stories.
Yes. And it just didn't work. But we won't talk about that anymore right now. We'll talk about that when we play Mass Effect.
Yeah, when we go back. Maybe we'll get it out of our systems.
I know.
Never forget.
Oh my god, we won't get it out of our systems though, because it's just such a thorn and it just won't go away. But Child of Light was an excellent little game, and definitely would recommend that, especially for people who like kind of your retro RPGs where it's more turn-based combat style, where you're selecting your actions and whatnot. And I don't know, I liked it. I thought it was good, and would recommend that to folks who are fans of those
and it's short. It doesn't take too long to play through.
Right.
Maybe
it took
10 hours?
It took me 13.
13, but you were going for the collectibles and stuff.
Yes,
So
I 100%ed
wanna-
it in 13 hours.
People that just maybe want to play through for the story, it'd probably
Right.
take about 10, about 10. Let's say 10 hours.
Yeah. And so that was cool. And then while you've been grinding out your kills again for seriously, I was like, well, what can I do on my 360? And so I've done a few of the time trials for Mirror's Edge, still working on those. And I also did Forza Horizon 2 Presents Fast and Furious, which I had played on the one a while back when it came out, and they were both free, but I just never went and did the 360 version of it. But I was like, this will be a nice short, kind of easy one to do while you're getting seriously kills. And it was nice and short, and the mechanics are pretty fun. But there were a couple of things, like the 360 version is slightly different from the One version, and I would say the 360 version is slightly more difficult than the Xbox One version. Not that anything is that difficult. It's, like I said, a fairly easy completion that you can do within, 3-4-ish hours. But there were a couple of things that were irritating, having to do some drifts and things that just, I don't know. I wasn't a fan of the changes for the 360 version, so definitely the Xbox One version, I think, is superior if you have any both. Interest at all in picking up that title. And if you have any interest in at all in racing game, you should probably buy Forza Horizon 2 instead of the Forza Horizon 2 Fast and the Furious game.
No, but if you got them for free and you're considering buying Forza Horizon 2, play the free one first, see if you like the mechanics, and then it's a good...
Yeah, I think it's a good idea of what Forza Horizon and Horizon 2 are. So...
Yeah. So...
That
well done on your 160 completed games, because that's just showed up on TA from completing Forza.
Oh, nice.
And what do you have planned next?
What do I have planned next? So I'm on this thing where I am trying to complete 4 games every month. And that's usually at least 3 of those are games in my backlog, and that's to try to help me get through my backlog by the end of the year. And so the games that are on my list for next month are Assassin's Creed Black Flag on the One, which I've completed on the 360 but got for free on the One, and so I'm going to play it again because it's awesome.
And I'll probably help a bit with the multiplayer.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed
Rogue. We can get those multi kills in Wolfpack to get the XPs quick.
Yeah, and Wolfpack is fun. I enjoyed.
I much prefer Wolfpack to the competitive multiplayer, other than in Brotherhood. I think Brotherhood for me had the best multiplayer, and then it just kind of
died. More
complicated with the other ones.
Yeah.
Cool. And then Rogue.
Which
I'm
doesn't
excited. Have multiplayer.
Right. So I'm excited to play Rogue, and that'll be the last major Assassin's Creed game that I haven't played.
Yep.
So
I'm looking forward to that, because then we can finally talk about it.
Yay! And then I have 2 kind of shorter Xbox One titles, Never Alone and White Knight, that I picked up when they were cheap a little while ago, and so I will be hopefully doing those, and hopefully those will be kind of short and balance out the rest of the longer games. Oh, right, and so that's for July. And so I have one more that I want to get finished before the end of June, so I have a few days, and that's Costume Quest 2.
You should definitely achieve that, because I think Costume Quest 2 took me like a Saturday.
Yeah, and so I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to get that done within the next few days. And like you said, I don't think that that should be a big challenge. So I'm looking forward to playing that. That looks like a cute little game.
And dependent on how long it takes us to get Gears done, we should have Sunset Overdrive as our next co-op game.
Yes, we should. And so I don't know. Do you feel like we might want to record a little bit of that?
We can. I mean, we could do a Let's Play, or we could do like a montage of fun shenanigans.
Right. I mean, I'm sort of thinking more of the latter, because we have so much stuff that's going on.
That's what I was thinking. We could do like epic fails, or awesome moments, or just what happens if we poke this electrical socket with this gun that fires.
Sure. Or we take like the first, hour or 2 of the game and record that, and then
record a bit when we've, upgraded a bit and are a bit more proficient, and
so
maybe boss
we'll
fights
like that.
If that game has boss fights. There'll be some Sunset Overdrive content with both of us. We just haven't really decided what we're going to do yet. Because this is the first I've heard of it, but I'm game.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's always fun to do stuff together, and so I think we can do something of it, but probably not a full Let's Play.
No, not a full Let's Play for the fact that your channel, you're attempting to get other content up on your channel at the moment anyway.
Exactly.
So, for me, I still have Hitman Blood Money to finish. And then I have 2 games with gold that I want. No, 2 games with gold on the 360, but I'll play them as backwards compatibility titles on the One, which is great, because I'm definitely more used to the One controller now than the 360. So they will be Operation Flashpoint Dragon Rising and Dead Space.
Nice.
Then I also have Lords of the Fallen, which has DLC. That I will probably purchase when I get around to playing it, depending on what other games with gold are announced for July, because I haven't seen anything yet, so we will wait and see.
Yes, we shall.
And maybe if I somehow get some money in the next month, I may purchase Quantum Break. I think that's the next game to buy on my list.
Yeah, and I think that We Happy Few is supposed to come out the end of this month.
I heard it was supposed to be the end of June.
And so I don't know when that will be, and I think it's releasing with like the Xbox One preview program or something, so it may not be the full on release.
Yeah, so it might be worth waiting for it to full release before you
I probably
put it on your main. You can maybe play it on an alt, depending on whether it would screw up any achievements, is all I'm thinking of with the preview program, if it doesn't have the achievements actualized.
Right, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about it, but I will probably pick that up whenever it does actually come out.
Awesome.
And like I said, I don't know
that's one
when,
I'm pseudo interested in, so I might wait until it's like cheaper or like fully released and consider purchasing that.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Sounds like we have plenty to be getting on.
Yes, indeed. And hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, we're going to be doing these updates, or doing these ramblings more regularly. And so,
I'd like to at least get it done once a month at the longest.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If we can do it every couple of weeks again like we were when we first started, I'd be happy with that as well.
Yeah, me too. Just because we have so much, and then if you're trying to think back to what things were a while ago,
you don't always portray the game in the same way that you were thinking about it when you actually played it.
And you don't necessarily remember 100% the nuances of everything because there's been so much in between then and now. So it's not super fresh in your mind.
Yes.
But in any case, we will endeavor to do better with that and hopefully not be thwarted by things like illness and Xboxes and technology not working and things not uploading, etc., etc. So,
cool.
Fingers crossed for that.
I guess we will see you next time.
We will see you in the next one.